Okay, this is going to be the fourth. Today is January 20th. So I'm just continuing from the teaching of, chapter 12 in Revelation, where I'm trying to explain the Church of Jesus Christ that was built here in America. That's pretty much the prophecy, okay? And how the sun, where the sun, the moon, and the 12 stars came from, which is actually, Jesus Christ and his wife, the church, okay? And the bride, that's what some pastors call it, which is that, okay, I understood that part, but the part that I didn't understand, my kids, is the fact that I didn't really know like when they said a bride, it was kind of confusing because, see, I never heard of this church before here, okay? In the beginning too, I used to be like, when they would have testimonies in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, this is the only true church. I often wonder, why do they always say that? Like, why is this the only true church? It's like, but then when I prayed about it, God showed me that the church is not talking about just that they're talking about, Jesus Christ's wife, like Jesus Christ's bride, which is Jesus Christ is actually the true church. And that's what that chapter 12 really is, right there. Okay, so because he started all of this, he if he never came to America and started it, the Jaredites wouldn't have known. You know what I'm saying? And then if you notice, it wasn't until the Holy Bible came to America in English, until God brought forth the Book of Mormon. Okay. Because it is not the first time the Book of Mormon was hidden, by Mormon. He was later, after the Nephites, were turning bad. That's what Jacob is talking about. When they were deciding to because I found this out when I was praying to God about why are men, are so warped minded, thinking that they can just do whatever they want, and then God finally showed me Jacob 3 in the Book of Mormon, where the Nephites were being punished, and that's why God made the women to kill all the men, and the women and their kids killed all the men in the Nephite. So that's why Mormon hit up the Book of Mormon. The Book of Mormon up there in Cumorah in New York. So these are some of the things I prayed about. So just so you know, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints here, not Latter-day Saints, the Church of Jesus, or the Church of Christ here in America, or the Church of Jesus Christ here in America, okay, was actually is what the chapter 12 was talking about here, okay? So, and that's why God wanted me to go to the Church of Jesus Christ, is to see the Nephite and what they did to the women and their children. That's why God turned the Nephites, the Lamanites, against them, okay? In the book of Jacob, okay? In the book of Jacob, it clearly tells us how, and then don't forget, remember when after 300 years, okay, in here, both Nephites and Lamanites are wicked, okay? And then Amram hides up the sacred records, which is the Book of Mormon. I don't know what it was called back then, but apparently it wasn't called the Book of Mormon, because this is when the Lamanites and the Nephites had it. This has nothing to do with the Jaredites. So now I believe that's why, we the Gentile, which is my side of the the Jaredites, have to come and and start telling, because we are the ones that first came to America and that Jesus Christ brought here in the first place. That's why God told me to follow Jesus Christ, because it wasn't until I went to the hospital and God told me to follow Jesus Christ that I asked. I said, what does he mean, follow Jesus Christ? I already follow Jesus Christ. But that's the thing. The thing is, I read the Book of Mormon, but it never dawned on me that in Ether, it's talking about the Jaredites, which is the people who first came to America, and the people who actually were Gentiles, which is why I like that movie Moana, where that man says, where that part where it says, we know the way. It goes, where the movie Moana, the man says, the Moana's ancestors, after, she got a vision that she sees all her ancestors like using to go find other lands, and she see and that one man is singing in Samoan, in my language, saying what was it, he goes that he hold on a second, let me see, because I like that part too. Hold on. Okay, this is the vision of Moana. Okay, what that man just said right there is that in Samoan he goes, let me go back to it again. Oh, let me see. Okay, he's saying, Tātou o tangata fō lau, ua fō ina mai ele atua le sami te le, means that God has given us, we are the people of, we are travelers, we are travelers, and God has given us here. Oh, God, that God called us to come. This is in English, but this is in Samoan. He's singing it in Samoan. That God has called us, which is the same thing in the book of Nephi. I mean, in the book of, in the book of Ether, Jared's brothers, descendants, okay? The Jaredites, which is us right here. Lea tua wala awina mai lea tua I le sami te le. E o mai. And then he goes, that God says, and get ready, like if you read the book of Ether, it tells you all of that, to get ready to, to travel. Because after Jared prayed, okay, to God, please, they didn't want to change their language. And like I said, Samoa is the only one that, the big Moa in New Zealand, my kids, okay, that was taken to Japan. Okay, well, like that guy was saying in about the dragons in the Bible. Well, the Moa was really, really huge. I mean, and I guess they used to kill it back in those days. They used to ride on it back in those days. But if you notice, Samoa is the only one that has like that name in their language, the Moa, because Moa it has meanings. It means either it means heart, your heart, like my heart, your heart, or it Moa also means like the chicken, or like Moa ole awala means in the middle of the road. I mean, that's that's the Samoan word Moa, okay? But it also means chicken or hen, but it also means heart, okay? That's why they call Samoa Sacred Heart. So anyways, I just wanted to show you that part, of this story here because it's so true. And God revealed this to me after I was reading and after I went to the hospital. Bawina to tele yo mai pena pena. Now pena pena means be prepared, okay? So that's what that means when they call Jared's brother to come, that they need to, get all the stuff. That's why they got the barges and all that stuff to build a boat to come to America, okay? Anyways, so to my kids, so this here is in the 3 Nephi, okay? That was before. Remember, that was before the 4 Nephi, okay, where Amram hit up the book of records. That was the first church, okay? That's not the time when that was the time when the Nephite, both the Nephites and the Lamanites, were wicked, and then Amram had to hit up the book. Now whether that was a Jaredite, it doesn't say, Amram, but but I guess that's why they never brought him up. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of, because the Jaredites were not allowed to share anything until Jesus allowed them to, remember? So over here, Jesus Christ did show himself unto the people of Nephi, as the multitude were gathered together in the land, bountiful, and did minister unto them, and on this wise did he show himself unto them, compromising chapter 11 to 26 inclusive. Now this here is actually talking about, when Jesus came, remember? The Father testifies of his beloved Son Christ, which is the same thing that when God came to Joseph Smith in 1820, and then when God came and when God brought Jesus to me and told me to open my eyes in 2003, remember? And for a long time I wouldn't share it because I was so scared, because I didn't even understand why God is showing me this. I thought maybe it was just the answer to my prayer when I asked who the missionaries were. The girls that came to my door in Ponte Nova, in Hacienda Heights in California, USA. The girls came and wanted me to read the Book of Mormon, and then I told them to read me a little bit of the Holy Bible, and I said, because I was so scared that God might punish me for adding words to the Bible, you know what I'm saying, in Revelations 22, I'm sorry. But apparently, as I have learned, after finding out that, Joseph Smith saw the same vision I did in 2005. Now remember, because I always wonder, why do I always include, or why does God always include Ronald Reagan in my dreams too, like in my vision in 2008 with Dad, when they came to me, on Lincoln and Magnolia during the financial crisis in 2008. But it was actually when God showed him to me when Obama won, the election over McCain. Anyways, but God had planned, so he was actually showing me, because remember, it was actually Ronald Reagan who fought in 1989, who brought down, he was a very courageous president who brought down that wall of over there with the communists. Remember, the Communist Party, okay, that was against the church. Okay, so that's why I always remember him and John Paul II until I came to the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints, and then I realized that the book of Mark 9 verse 2, or where it says the transfiguration, okay, the transfiguration, my kids, If you look at that, then you'll see where Jesus was in the Mount of Transfiguration, where God came to him, and then there was Peter, James, and John there, and then it helped me understand, like, okay, I'm actually my partial Levite and Jewish part is probably from John, because I think James and John may have been Jesus' brothers, from Joseph, like half brothers, remember? So that's the only reason why I think, I have that part, because I remember that in Samoa, God told me I was part in a hibiscus. He showed me 2 different color hibiscus that I grew, and I was part Jewish there, That's what God told me. After I came to America, I didn't know it until I came. I thought it was just, was so exciting, I learned how to plant 2 separate, and then God is showing me, I can put them together. I can, put 2 hibiscus together and make it like a beautiful, do 2 different color hibiscus. But until I came to America and I learned a little bit more, after going to assembly, I learned something, and then I went to other churches, I learned something, and I came here to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Now I have so much more that I'm learning, But I mean, I don't stop learning. This is not the end. I still learn every day. Then, like I said, I'm still praying about, some other stuff that, Matthew 24, okay? The Father testifies of his beloved Son Christ, appears and proclaims his atonement. The people, this is after Jesus died this is after Jesus died over there in the flesh, okay? Remember that, okay? He died in the flesh in over there in what's the name of in Jerusalem, okay, or at Calvary, okay? And where he told God, okay, God, why have you, Father, why have you forsaken me, Lama Sapatani, okay? And then, and he also told the prisoner on the right, today you shall be with me in heaven, okay? But that's what he was saying, okay? The Father testifies with beloved Son. Christ appears and proclaims his atonement. The people feel the wound marks in his hands and feet and side. They cry, Hosanna. He sets forth the mode, okay? The last time I said made. But the mode and manner of baptism, okay? So it was God it was Jesus Christ who actually, the one that actually came and, he was the one that started baptism. Remember that? After he was baptized, he told the prisoner on the right, today, I shall see you in paradise. The spirit of contention is of the devil. Christ's doctrine is that men should believe and be baptized and receive the Holy Ghost. Now, the Church of Jesus Christ here that we're talking about here in Ether 4, okay, Ether 4 here, okay, that's where that came after. That was built, okay, which is after Jesus. That was built here in chapter 2. That was foretold by John here. You see, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. Okay, that was foretold by John in Revelations 12, but Jesus fulfilled it after he came to the Nephites. Can you see that? After he came to the Nephites, okay, he fulfilled that prophecy, okay, of John, okay, the Revelator, okay. He fulfilled it because nobody was allowed to tell this until Jesus allowed it, okay. So because Jesus had to come and finish the church here and teach the people of the Nephites, because they are actually Israelites, remember that. And they already know about the Ten Commandments and Moses, because they came from the land of Babylon. Okay, now I know there's nobody who preaches about the Book of Mormon, which is why I'm teaching this to you guys, my kids. Okay, Jesus Christ did show himself unto the people of Nephites, and as the multitude were gathered together in the land bountiful. This is in America, and did minister unto them, and on this wise did he show himself unto them. Okay, so that's why I'm saying in this chapter is where God, started his church here that's how the church started. Okay, here in America, here in the book of Nephi 4. And this Nephi here was actually one of the disciples of Jesus Christ. Okay, he was the son of Nephi. Okay, and they were the ones that started it. But don't forget, it was Amaron that hides up wasn't Mormon, who hid it up. It was Amaron, because after the church, because Amaron was probably a Jaredite. The only reason I'm thinking, because they never mentioned him. That's why they call it the Book of Mormon. Okay, so because it's really, there's a lot still to learn. So, but here in this chapter 11 is where Jesus actually came to the Nephites. Okay, and John in Book of Revelation here, he's a revelator. I always wonder why God was showing this to me, but it's actually John's prophecy that I guess, it was inside the Revelation, because that's things to come after Jesus came to the Church of Jesus, to America, to start the Church of Jesus Christ here in chapter 11, and then 3 Nephi chapter 11, and then the church actually started here in the fourth book of Nephi. Okay, so that's about the prophecy here in chapter 12. Okay, that God showed me about how Jesus started the church here in America, because nobody really knew. They just knew that it was gonna be, but they didn't know exactly, because it wasn't. They weren't allowed to share it. God didn't give it to them because they weren't allowed to tell it. Okay, and that's why God, I guess, apparently told God, told Joseph why all those other churches were false. Because if you look at here in fourth in this book here, where after 2 centuries division, evils false. So that was after 20 years. Okay, 2 centuries is 20 years. After the year was prosperous, after then false churches, so there's divisions, evils, false churches, and persecutions arise. You see, that's when what do you call that thing? That's when apostasy started here in America, which is why the Mormon had to hide up the book again. Okay. Amaron hid it first, but then apparently whoever was alive at the time, like Mormon and Moroni, they all had to kind of, take turns of hiding it, because they needed to add new things to it. You see what I'm saying? It was like a never-ending story type of thing. They had to keep. Somebody had to add the stories of their forefathers, of their ancestors to the gold plates. Okay, because that's the only way that they would that they were able to that's the only way that they would be able to keep the records right here, which is what we have, or else we never would have learned. Well, my prayer was, I wanted to know where my kids came from. I didn't know where my kids' father's side came from, because they were like kind of like Mexican Americans and native kind of thing. The Aztecs, which is the same thing like with the Samoans, how they used to turn evil, and they all went, like that fourth book of Nephi was talking about how after 20 years, after 300 centuries. Anyways, maybe it was 200 years. Anyways, 200 years, I think, because I know it was after 300 years, according to the other the other book that I just read. I'll go back to that. But and according to the book of the Holy Bible of the believers, and how Jesus was born. Julius, I don't know, one of the Pope, put the Christmas tree out, in 349, because now everybody was getting bad, so. And then I think Constantine, I think he actually made the church become legalized in, I think it was 300, in the 300 something. Anyway, so all this happened for a reason, but with that, I believe God used that in order for the people to bring the scrolls together, like to have it come and then get printed, like in 1611 when they printed out the King James version that Joseph Smith used. Okay, my kids, so now where the Book of Mormon, what I learned from going to the Church of Jesus Christ. There's so much. Why I believe that. And how I came to believe that was part of my ancestors. Okay, and then the only other thing I wanted to say about the Nephites, is that this very first part here is the part where they came from. This one here, chapter 1 of the first book of Nephi. Because remember there's 4 of them. And in here, Nephi begins the record of his people. Lehi sees in vision a pillar of fire and reads from a book of prophecy. He praises God, foretells the coming of the Messiah, and prophesies the destruction of Jerusalem. He is persecuted by the Jews. So this is the part where I, Nephi, having been born of godly parents, therefore I was taught somewhat in all the learning of my father, and having seen many afflictions in the course of my days. Nevertheless, having been highly favored of the Lord in all my days, yea, having had a great knowledge of the goodness and the mysteries of God, therefore I make a record of my proceedings in my days. And yea, I make a record in the language of my father, which consists of the learning of the Jews and the language of the Egyptians. Because remember, Hebrews were actually from Egypt. Remember that, when Joseph saw, had a dream, remember, with his colored coats. Remember the rainbow, the colored coats, the rainbow. That was from Noah, remember? He had a rainbow as his covenant, while the colored coats is a sign of that rainbow. My father, which consists of the learning of the Jews and the language of the Egyptians. That's where that Egyptian language came from, because the Hebrews, Moses was raised by an Egyptian lady. His half brother was actually Ramsey. And I know that the record which I make is true, and I make is with mine own hand, and I make it according to my knowledge. For it came to pass in the commencements of the first year of the reign of Zedekiah king of Judah, my father, Lehi, having dwelt at Jerusalem in all his days, and in that same year there came many prophets prophesying unto the people that they must repent, or the great city Jerusalem must be destroyed. Wherefore it came to pass that my father Lehi, as he went forth, prayed unto the Lord, yea, with all his heart in behalf of his people. And it came to pass, as he prayed unto the Lord, there came a pillar of fire and dwelt upon a rock before him. And he saw and heard much, and because of the things which he saw and heard, he did quake and tremble exceedingly. It's funny how this verse here, because it's 6, and it came to pass, as he prayed unto the Lord, there came a pillar of fire and dwelt upon a rock before him, and he saw and heard much, and because of the things which he saw and heard, and did quake and tremble exceedingly, because there came a pillar of fire and dwelt upon a rock. Because this reminds me of when I was sitting on a rock in Salofata, in the back of the little Falioo, and God came to me over there. You know what I mean? So it's interesting, So anyways, continuing, and it came to pass that he returned to his own house at Jerusalem, and he cast himself upon his bed, being overcome with the Spirit and the things which he had seen. All right, well, you can continue reading this on your own, but that's just, that's just his talking about being from Jerusalem, okay? He actually came from Jerusalem during the reign of Zedekiah, okay? So that's king of Judah, okay? That's when they first came from Babylon, okay? Remember that? Okay, that is talking about Babylon in here, in Revelation, okay? You see this one here in Revelation 14, where it says, and there followed another angel crying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all